Okay, welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
So today we are tackling, well, a really fascinating piece of source material. It's both kind of modern and ancient at the same time.
Mhm.
It's an analysis of a lyrical composition and meditation called Orbital Lantern Journey Beneath the Hole of the Moon by 𝗧𝗧𝗧.
And what makes this so interesting, I think, is the origin of the piece itself.
Right.
It was explicitly generated using, well, a whole stack of AI tools. Things like ChatGPT, Meta.ai, Producer.ai. It really blurs that line between, human creativity and machine output.
It absolutely does. And the work itself, it's designed as a meditation on vision and truth.
Yeah, in a world that's just, well, drowning in digital illusion. It's very meta.
Very meta, critical, and yeah, incredibly timely.
Mm-hmm.
So, our mission for you, listening in, is to treat this work almost like a philosophical lens. We want to extract its central message about how art, maybe regardless of its origin, can guide us past these modern illusions.
And we're going to do that by looking at 5 key themes that are all interconnected.
Exactly. And, the composition itself, it doesn't really hold back.
No, it doesn't.
It's framed almost like an AI gen coda, a follow-up to that classic Waterboys track, You Saw the Hole of the Moon.
Which immediately raises the question, right? How can we possibly see the whole truth, the whole moon, when, studies show most people spend, less than 3 seconds on any single social media post?
Yeah, that contrast is stark. It puts the struggle for genuine focus right there, front and center. And the whole analysis seems grounded in the difficulty of this work, the effort involved. It uses that wonderful Dylan Thomas quote,
Oh yeah, in my craft or sullen art.
I labor by singing light. That sets the tone immediately, doesn't it? Authentic illumination, real insight, it takes work.
It does. It links that search for artistic truth directly to a kind of struggle against the noise, against the darkness. This isn't passive. It's a call to really perceive.
Okay, so let's start unpacking that. Theme 1 revolves around the central image, the moon. It's positioned as more than just scenery. It's like the main witness, a silent guide throughout the piece.
And the lyrics draw this immediate contrast, don't they? Between the moon's quiet silver light and what it calls the counterfeit sun.
The counterfeit sun. Yeah, so the moon represents what? Reflection? Rhythm.
Exactly. Reflection, rhythm, quiet illumination. Qualities that are, frankly, the complete opposite of the speed and flash of the digital world we live in. By focusing on the moon, the work is tapping into something ancient, something stable.
It's that symbol of reliable continuity. You think about ancient cultures tracking time, the tides.
Yeah, linking its phases to fertility, renewal. It's what lasts when all the fleeting distractions burn out. The moon is like patience itself.
And that historical weight makes the modern comparison so powerful.
Definitely. The moon here becomes a symbol of resistance. Resistance to just constant overexposure. The sun gives clarity, power, sure. But the moon teaches subtlety, patience. The piece actually reclaims it as a lantern for truth.
The lantern for truth. I like that.
Yeah, suggesting that maybe true vision comes in these softer, quieter forms that maybe we've forgotten how to even notice.
Okay, so if the moon teaches patience, where's the conflict? Where does the tension come from?
Well, that seems to be where the second theme comes in, this duality of shadow and flame.
Ah, right. And that key lyric, I saw the shadow, you saw the flame, that really captures it.
It's the philosophical core, really. Shadow and flame aren't just simple opposites. They're like metaphors for how we process the same reality differently.
Okay, explain that a bit more. Shadow is depth, silence, reflection.
Yes. And flame is that fleeting brilliance, distraction, pure spectacle.
But wait, isn't that a bit counterintuitive? Usually we think of shadows as, hiding something or maybe ignorance, like Plato's cave.
That's the interesting twist here. Think about Plato's cave. The prisoners saw shadows and mistook them for reality.
Right.
This piece flips it. The shadow isn't the error. It's framed as a necessary condition, actually, for seeing the moon's wholeness.
Necessary how?
Well, without the contrast, without the night, you can't recognize the moon's true light properly. It's inviting us to see contrast, not just as absence, but as the background needed for depth.
Okay, I see. So the flame, then, is the real problem here.
Pretty much.
Fire usually means inspiration, warmth, right. But here, it's all about distraction. It's linked directly to that counterfeit sun.
Exactly. We're mistaking the temporary flash for something lasting. It's a real critique of instant gratification, the culture that always wants the big spectacle. It's pushing us to tell the difference between the fleeting blaze and the steady glow.
That's a good phrase.
And think about the exhaustion, the burnout that comes from always having to be on, always performing, always flaming bright. The moon offers this kind of slow, steady alternative. Relief, almost.
That distinction hits home, confusing the fleeting blaze for the steady glow. Yeah, we probably all do that. Which brings us, I guess, inevitably to the third section, the direct critique of digital distraction.
Yeah, moving from the metaphors to the very literal.
Right, the ghost light dancing. The lyrics are quite explicit. 1,000 faces flicker in the glass.
Ghost light dancing and scrolling through endless echoes. It paints such a vivid picture of our mediated lives.
And the counterfeit sun here is explicitly the glow from our screens, our devices.
Yes, the things that mediate almost everything we perceive now.
It really captures that cultural crisis, modern life just consumed by artificial light 24/7. It kind of cuts us off from natural rhythms, doesn't it?
It does, and the paradox, the emotional cost, is maybe the worst part. The song says, eyes are open, yet they do not find.
Open but not finding.
We've got constant stimulation, endless feeds, but the spirit is described as numb.
That sounds familiar, like we're wide awake, but spiritually asleep.
Exactly. It mirrors what psychologists say about constant high input. It actually diminishes our ability to focus deeply, to feel, to connect with ourselves.
It's a powerful charge. But you mentioned earlier, the piece doesn't just say technology bad.
No, definitely not. It's not about demonizing the tools.
So it's not burn your phone, move off grid.
Not necessarily. It's about the relationship we have with it. Like fire, tech can illuminate or it can blind. The song is calling for conscious use, instead of just passive consumption. If we're just scrolling passively, the medium dictates our perception.
Right.
So that call to lift their gaze beyond glass and bloom, it links the critique to an actual choice, an action.
A choice to look up, basically, to stop prioritizing the filter over the reality.
Precisely.
And that choice, that leads us into the fourth theme, doesn't it? The personal call to awareness.
Yes, the invitation to wake up, to turn away from what the lyrics call mirrors of borrowed light.
Mirrors of borrowed light. I like that too. But it also says awareness isn't easy.
No, definitely not. That's where the effort comes back in. The imagery suggests awareness is fragile, like it flickers like embers in rain. So seeking the whole of the moon, seeing what's authentic and enduring, it requires discipline. And maybe courage, actually. Courage to look away from the constant spectacle.
So awareness becomes liberation.
That's how the text frames it. To awaken is to break a kind of trance, to step outside that cycle of hunger that is never fed.
Hunger that's never fed. That's the endless scroll, isn't it?
Could be. And in this attention economy we live in, deciding where you put your focus, choosing that authentic, quieter light, well, that might be the most radical act you can perform.
A radical act of attention.
But the piece doesn't just leave it there with the individual.
Right, because this struggle, while it starts personal, it finds its real power when it's shared.
Exactly. Which brings us to the fifth and final theme, moving from that solitary awareness to collective illumination.
And the tone shifts in the closing stanzas, doesn't it? It becomes more communal.
Completely. The invitation changes. Listeners are called to dance, drink, come like comets, together under the moon.
It moves from quiet inner reflection to this shared, almost joyous celebration.
And that's the critical final step, I think. The composition suggests that truth, or seeing the whole picture, isn't purely personal. It becomes stronger, more radiant when it's embraced by a community.
So the orbital lantern becomes a beacon for everyone. It provides a shared horizon.
That shared horizon is so key.
Yeah.
Because it directly pushes back against the fragmentation, the isolation that the digital age can breed.
Yeah, when we're all lost in our own endless echoes, we can't see the same moon, can we?
Exactly right. So this gathering under one common light, it symbolizes unity, a shared vision that resists being broken apart. That communal space is where the fictitious flame really starts to lose its power.
And that final image is so strong, the collective vision shatters the black glass, the fictitious flame.
Yeah.
It implies that, okay, individual awakening is crucial, but the big illusions of our time, they only really break when we face them together with a shared perspective.
That's the hopeful note it ends on, really, a kind of anthem. The song closes in solidarity, reminding us that this search for genuine light is both deeply personal and fundamentally shared. We see the whole of the moon best, maybe, not alone, but when we look up at it together.
Wow. Okay, this has been a really deep dive into this unique work. We've covered those 5 main threads. The quiet symbolism of the moon,
The duality of shadow and flame.
The sharp critique of digital distraction. That personal call to awareness.
And finally, the power of collective illumination.
Yeah. And it feels like, regardless of its AI origins, the piece really does function as that lantern it talks about.
It does. Guiding us individually and maybe collectively through some of the modern darkness. It urges us to reject the fragment, the fleeting glimpse, and try to behold the whole.
So maybe let's leave you, the listener, with a final thought to chew on.
Okay.
If our attention truly is the currency of our time, and that fictitious flame is always trying to grab it, what's one single, maybe small, radical act of liberation you could perform today, right now? What's one fleeting brilliance you could consciously turn away from?
Just for a moment.
Yeah, just for a moment, to try and catch sight of that quieter, more authentic light instead.
That choice ultimately is yours. The nocturne, the song, it ends. But its lantern, that idea, it keeps burning, always calling us back, hopefully, towards real light.